Hey guys, it's me, Frescobaldi, and wouldn't you know it, it's plugin review time. I want to talk about the PuigChild. It is a software instrument compressor which is modeled after the Fairchild, which is sort of an elusive unit that there are only so many units made in like the 1950s, but it's like the grandfather of tube compressors. And so I was watching this great video by Michael Wine, otherwise known as In the Mix, here on YouTube. And he was going through different software emulated compressors and discussing the analog forefathers of those. He revealed how the different construction of each respective compressor can actually lead it to be used in different contexts. So, for example, the one that I'm going to discuss is a tube compressor. It's a little bit slower to act than a transistor-based compressor. This is my very primitive knowledge of it, but he mentioned specifically that it could work out very well on submixes. And I found, for me, my final puzzle piece to turning out the sort of recordings that I've always wanted to turn out, just for me, uniquely, it was about submixes, and I hadn't taken the time to really glue things together with compressors and saturators. And so I thought, okay, here's a great option. Here's a great option that sounds sweet, sort of a tried and true compression sound. And it fits that sort of context, that context where you don't want the transients to be compromised. You want your stuff to be punchy, but sort of glued together. You want things to be more present, all in all, within the subgroup itself. So I picked this thing up for $30, and I'm very pleased with it, and I want to get into the DAW and show you a few examples of how I've used it immediately and how I've used it to success. Okay, great. So we are in Ableton now, in all its glory. So I thought the most immediate way to demonstrate this would be, let's see how the darn thing sounds on drums. So we're just going to A-B it. I have this breakbeat that I'm still trying to plot out for this song. But, just sort of to get it there, to push it gradually to where it needs to be, I thought I can add some compression to it just to see how it might sound in the final mix. So this is the PuigChild 670, which is the stereo unit, as opposed to the 660, which is the mono. Now, I haven't quite mastered the theory behind every single control. I know that this is the gain, this is the compression amount. This is both the attack and release. We have faster times and then more gradual times as we get over here. And we have a general output gain. This is quite unique because you can affect the mid and the sides separately if you choose, as well as left and right. But I suspect, unless I'm doing some particular mastering type thing, I suspect that I'm going to use this linked most times. So let's just see what it sounds like. So this is the drums with, the compressor applied. Let's see. Okay, so it sounds decent enough. It sounds nice in context. Let's turn it off just to see what that's like. Right, so we lose some detail there. You guys know how compressors work. But, it works out in this context. Let's move on to how I used it in a different project. And this one might be more illustrative of why I'm very excited about it. So, all right then. So, same John, different day. We're looking at a submix right now. On the submix, I have a glue compressor and a limiter. So starting with lighter compression going to the brick wall, but let's just listen to it. I'll A-B between this combination of plugs and the PuigChild. Okay, so interesting. The thing that I notice is that with the Ableton plugs, I like the sound of the pad better. With the PuigChild, I like the sound of the lead better. So, compromise we're going to make. But before we really make a decision, let's listen to these plugins as they stand in the mix. The PuigChild has a way of really making that lead synth pop out, whereas the combination of Ableton plugs makes the lead a bit duller. But I do believe that with the PuigChild, the pad is sort of suffering a little bit. It's a bit squashed, almost, and it's on the verge of distorting. I might want to consider using the PuigChild on the lead alone, or a similar application in the future. I have a very strange combination of elements on this melodic subgroup, and so I can take some of the responsibility. If there's any takeaway I'd like you to have from this video, it's that it's good to have options. You know, the PuigChild is just one more tool in my toolkit, and if you have an idea of how these unique tools will work in like different contexts, then hopefully you can make choices that are subjectively better. I got a puppy who's sniffing at my door. Hopefully you can make choices which are subjectively better for you. And maybe that'll translate to how the listener hears it. Okay, that's it for DAW time. Thank you. And so we've reached the ending. Let me know if you guys found that to be valuable. I appreciate your viewership as always. Subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.